My parents didn't think a girl needed an education, so they chose not to save any money for me growing up. They had no interest in my education or extracurricular activities. My mom's brother, Brian, grew up in the UK, and he had a different attitude. He would always check in and see how I was doing in school. He bought me my first graphing calculator. Because I wanted to impress him, I worked myself raw to graduate with honors. I was the salutatorian in my school and received a scholarship to my dream school. I didn't even bother telling my parents. I graduated from high school and moved to the West Coast. My parents tried to convince me to come home, but I was quite happy for the first time I could remember. I studied in a STEM field and was recruited before I graduated. My job pays me very well, and I met my husband at work. My brother also attended university and is an engineer. He does well for himself, except he constantly gives our parents money. My brother talked to me recently about how we needed to support our parents in their old age. I said I had no problem contributing to them. However, they would have to ask me for help. I would not volunteer it or send it through him. If they wanted my dirty woman money, they'd have to ask for it. He says they won't because it would shame my father to ask a woman for money. I'm okay with him feeling shame after the way he raised me. My brother says I'm being an idiot, and it doesn't matter, since my parents know where the money will be coming from. I think that my father and mother need to get over themselves. Am I the idiot for telling my brother that if my parents need money, they can ask me for it themselves? Not the idiot. Your parents' patriarchal view of the world is the real idiot here. Also, maybe your brother is a bit for being a patriarchy enabler. He benefited from it a lot. Now it's time for him to pay back mommy and daddy. Your parents want your money, and dad needs to let go of his ego to ask for your help. The heck with dad's shame. You made an incredible life for yourself in spite of their lack of support. Thank heavens for your uncle. I wouldn't help them at all, but I'm petty that way. My parents didn't think a girl needed an education. OP's parents are so open-minded, their brains fell out, if they ever even had a brain to begin with. I don't know why, but I suspect that your brother wouldn't tell parents that OP gave them money. OP, your brother wants to get credit for your money. If your parents' fragile ego is more important to them than being able to pay their bills, that's on them. Honey, you're not being petty. People who treat you poorly your whole life should not expect to get anything positive in return when they need something from you, especially if it's the kind of thing you wouldn't be able to help with if you had been held to their standard and lived to their requirements or rules. If my parents treated me that way, I would not reward them with financial assistance, nor have a relationship with them, because I've learned to put my energy into healthy relationships and walk away from toxic ones. It doesn't matter who the person is. Toxic is toxic. Also, if it's shameful to ask their daughter for money, it would also be shameful to spend their daughter's money. Stand your ground. It seems you're only asking for your parents to give you the respect you deserve. Your hard work is paid off, and your parents should recognize that. If their pride is that important, well, they made their decision. Kudos to Uncle Brian for recognizing and fostering your potential. He probably felt sorry for his sister, who married such a misogynistic sack of crap. My mom and I decided to have a heartfelt conversation while enjoying dinner at a local restaurant. We were discussing some deeply personal matters and needed a quiet, private environment. However, the entire experience got derailed due to a persistent and annoying waiter. At first, the waiter seemed friendly, which we appreciated, but as our conversation progressed, the waiter transformed into an annoying pest. They kept interrupting us, demanding our attention by asking how the food tasted, attempting to upsell us on various items, and hovering around our table. Their constant interruptions were becoming incredibly grating. At one point, I decided to take a stand. I politely, albeit firmly, asked the waiter not to come back to our table unless we explicitly signaled them. I explained that our conversation was important and that their persistent interruptions were disruptive. They seemed taken aback, but they did give us some space for a brief period. However, the waiter apparently complained to the manager about my request for some peace and quiet. The manager came over to our table to address the situation. While the manager understood, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being treated like the bad guy here. Am I the idiot for telling this annoying pest of a waiter to leave us alone during a serious conversation? Could I have handled this differently? Or was my plea for some understanding and space reasonable, considering the circumstances? You are the idiot, 100%. Needed a quiet, private environment? Then go to one. You went to a public restaurant where someone's job is literally to go to your table throughout your time there. You sound terrible to interact with. I doubt he'd complain to his manager. The manager likely asked why he was avoiding the rude people at that table, as it's his job to watch his tables. And the way you called him an annoying pest? Have some time to reflect. You are the annoying person who chose a public restaurant when needing a quiet, private place. Entitled and rude. What a load of crap. There is no reason for the waiter to keep pestering the patrons, even after they say that they'll beckon the waiter when needed. Nobody goes to a restaurant just to gulp down their food and leave. The whole point of going to a restaurant is to be social, to eat and hang out with someone. If you're a waiter and behave like that waiter in the story, you'd be a super annoying waiter. In Europe, this isn't an issue. The waitstaff takes your order, delivers it, and then leaves you alone to enjoy your meal. You signal them for the check. They hover in the States because they're dependent on tips. Not the idiot. You were polite. I have no idea why the waiter escalated it to his manager. I, 20 female, was invited to my friend's, I'll call her Leah, 20 female, house for dinner last week. And it has led to some weird things. For the background, I have a lot of medical conditions, including asthma and extreme allergies. My friend likes to joke about how fragile I am. My friends and I went out 2 months ago. I didn't bring a purse, so I had Leah hold my inhaler in her purse. At first she said, "Stop joking, I know that's fake." But after I pulled it out and used it, she seemed surprised. She apologized and we moved on. Skip to last week. I was invited to a dinner party at Leah's house. I was so excited. I sent her a list of allergies and told her if she wanted to keep what she was planning on making, I'll bring my own food, no problem. She insisted that her food was fine, and I thanked her. I'm allergic to mushrooms. She made a chicken dish that looked like it had mushrooms in it, but I didn't question her. She watched me take a first bite, and I was right, mushrooms. I spat it out immediately and went into my bag to find allergy medication. I was so angry. Leah asked me what was wrong, and I said I'm allergic to mushrooms, so I can't eat the meal you made. She responded, "I thought you were faking." Not even thinking, I called her a monster, grabbed my stuff and left. I've been getting nonstop texts from people who attended the event telling me I shouldn't have said that after she made me a homemade meal. They think I'm an idiot. Am I? Homemade poison. Yum. Not the idiot. You gave her a list of allergies, and she intentionally put one in the food she served to you. No real friend of yours would do that. I bet my last dollar there was more than just one allergen in what she made. What is it with the rash of people testing potentially life-threatening allergies? Legally, that's considered premeditated poisoning. She's lucky that you're not pressing charges. Yeah, with friends like that, who needs enemies? She wanted you to have an allergic reaction and was watching you. And you were right. She's a monster. The fact that she seems to feel the need to passively aggressively prove that you're lying by intentionally serving you toxic food is concerning. This is not a friend. This is one of those half-wits who think it's all in your head, and they've just got to get you in that gotcha moment to prove it. Stop being friends with her and anyone who sided with her. You don't need her. My husband, 38, and I, 40 female, have been married for 8 years and have a preschool-age son. I work for a regional park district, managing the outdoor recreation/education program. Basically, I work outside 90% of the time. The summer is by far my busiest time of the year, and I routinely work 6 days a week. If I can make it work, I will take a day off during the week to offset my hours because our weekend events are the ones I'm most needed at since they're bigger. I'm salaried, so I don't get overtime. This is not new. I've been in this position since before my husband and I got married. He knows how busy I am this time of year. Since our son was born, my husband has gotten increasingly grumpy during this time of year because he obviously has to be more responsible for our son on weekends when I work. We've thought about this many times because he feels like I should talk to my bosses about getting other people to take over some of my weekend events so he doesn't get stuck with our son alone every weekend. I feel like he needs to suck it up because this isn't new to anyone, and it's only a small portion of the year that my schedule is like this. His argument is that there's nothing he does that leaves me parenting by myself for similar amounts of time, and that there needs to be more of a balance in that area. This past weekend, I had events on both Saturday and Sunday, full 8-hour days outside in the heat. By the time I got home both nights, I was exhausted and just wanted to shower and sleep. I tried to watch a movie with them Saturday night, but fell asleep on the couch. Last night I crashed by 8 p.m. This morning I told my husband I would work from home for a bit in the morning to offset my hours. But after my husband took our son to daycare and I started looking at emails, I changed my mind and took the day off to get some rest and maybe do a few things around the house. I must have fallen asleep on the couch because I woke up to my husband making himself lunch in the kitchen. He regularly comes home for lunch because his office is nearby. I asked him how his day was going and a few other questions, and he kept giving me one-word answers. I asked him if he was okay, and he told me he was tired and felt like he hadn't gotten a break all summer, and it was frustrating for him to come home and see me napping when I told him I was going to work from home. I told him I was still tired from the weekend and decided to take the day off. He said he's tired too, and that I need to start doing a better job of considering his needs as well, instead of just focusing on my own. He said it's not fair for him to work 5 days a week, then be a solo parent all weekend, while all I do is work and sleep. I told him that summer's almost over, so my weekends would free up again soon. But all he said was, since you're rested now, you can pick our son up from daycare. I won't be home for dinner. You are the idiot. Not for the day off. Everyone should get one from time to time. You're the idiot because your husband is 100% parent during every weekend of the summer months, in addition to also having a full-time job Monday through Friday. He's asked you to talk to your boss about getting more people, but you've refused. So I guess this is life for him now. June through August, full-time parent, every weekend. Also, all of the household chores on the weekend, cooking, mowing, etc. You've dumped too much on him, and your answer is basically, suck it up. OP works for a regional parks department, and public sector work, getting more people, is not really a thing. Staffing is dictated by funding, not needs, and some uses are legally mandated. That goes double for programming stuff. On top of all that, thanks to how open the public sector is legally required to work, we also have to deal with the bureaucracy is too big and keep costs down BS from the public, which means higher-ups try to go longer without filling positions if they can to show we're saving the taxpayers' money. Talking to her boss won't help. She's not the idiot. Then she shouldn't have a kid. It's time to look for a different job, since this one is no longer feasible with her home life. I feel like if these roles were reversed, that's what we'd hear. If a dude had to work all weekend and then took a day off while the kids were at daycare, I don't think anyone would defend him. Her solution of suck it up isn't a solution. She's not trying to look for solutions. She simply wants him to take it on and not complain. Massive idiot, honestly. Then she shouldn't have a kid? What are you talking about? This is life, dude. Working's not always easy. People work different shifts. Medical people having to work many weekends because there are not enough staff. Retail people in holiday periods. Military being out to sea for months. That's life. This dude is moaning because he has to be a dad for, gasp, 3 months and not even all weekends. He's ridiculous. And so are all of you who are saying that OP's wrong. Give me a break. My dad's stepdaughter is 18, and she's expecting a baby. I don't know much about the circumstances overall. I only know there's no father in the picture for this baby, and no paternal family either. Oh, and she's living with my dad and his wife again. So my dad's wife called me up randomly a few days ago and told me that her daughter's friends are not offering to throw her a baby shower, and that as her sister, I'd be the next best person to throw her one because I'm closer to her age group. She told me I had failed her daughter as a sister in the past by refusing to be her big sister and acting like I don't have a responsibility to her. This is where I can make it up to her and get off on good footing as an aunt. I, 23 female, told my dad's wife I would not be throwing her daughter a shower, but she's more than free to, and if I have the time available, I might show up. She told me it wasn't good enough, and I was supposed to be her daughter's big sister, and that she promised her a big sister. I told her she should have adopted an older girl, or found a husband with a daughter who wanted to be a big sister. I told her she married a man whose daughter had no interest in taking on the role, and after 15 years, it was time she accepted that. She told me that my behavior was worse than when I chose to stop going to my dad's house during his parenting time when I was 13. I told her I was okay with that. I thought we were done, but yesterday she called again, and I gave her the same answer, no. She called me an idiot and told me I was hurting her daughter, who was innocent in all of this. Late last night, I got a message from who I assume is her daughter, but I can't be positive since I don't have the girl's number. And she said she was sorry her mom was being pushy, and she was sorry if I hated her, but she would really love it if I wanted to throw a shower with her. She said she could really use a big sister, and she'd always loved me, even if I never loved or cared about her. It made me question if I was too harsh in saying no, because she did hit the nail on the head. She always loved and admired me, while I never loved or cared for her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You don't call someone and insult them right off the bat to guilt trip them into doing a favor for you. Don't let them walk all over you. It's pretty entitled for them to expect you to throw a baby shower. As the mother who seems to care so much about this, why can't your stepmother host the shower? Harsh or not in your refusal, you shouldn't be guilt-tripped into taking on this responsibility. Exactly. Why doesn't her mother, as a grandmother-to-be, throw her a baby shower? Why are they forcing OP? I do feel bad for OP's stepsister. She's pregnant at 18, and it doesn't sound like she has much of a support system. She's got a tough road ahead. OP, maybe you could try to be a little nicer to the daughter, at least. Even if you don't want to see her as a sister, just treat her like a friendly acquaintance. Why doesn't her mother, as a grandmother-to-be, throw her a baby shower? Because baby's daddy's nowhere to be seen, and if OP agrees to be a big sister/generous aunt, then her father and stepmother can try to persuade her to pick up more of the tab for the baby. Babies, which are very expensive. The mother-to-be needs legal advice and child support, neither of which is OP's responsibility. I guarantee that the unknown number was the stepmother trying to guilt-trip OP. She stopped visiting at 13. She's 23 now. So 10 years? There is no family dynamic. I wouldn't break that distance for a baby shower. People think organizing a baby shower is easy, but baby showers are expensive and can get crazy to organize, especially if your stepmom is a difficult person. You don't owe them your time or your peace of mind.